Hey James, how's it going? Happy Monday. So, I couldn't really come up with an idea for this week, so of course I asked you. And one of your suggestions was Android versus iPhone. So, I know you know this. I don't think anyone who actually watches this really knows this. I used to be an iPhone user. Um, I started, my first iPhone was probably the iPhone 4 or 4S, one of the two. Um, and I went all the way up to this looks like a 6S to me. Uh, yeah, I believe I went up to the 6S, and I mean, I liked it. It was good. It was for me. It was simple. Um, the fact that it didn't allow me to customize everything was nice. Some people might think that's counterintuitive, but for me, that was the one thing that I liked about iPhones was that it was very straightforward. It was exactly what you get is what you get. You know, you don't you can't do too much to it, but you know, having worked at a software development company, to me that's one thing that is a very slippery slope. You know, people like to customize, but if they customize, they can break things in ways that you don't expect sometimes. And so you want to try to limit it in a way, you know? Um, so that was a good thing. Um, but the real question, why did I switch? So for me, my iPhone was getting unbearably slow. Obviously, as you know, they recently came out and said that they did have some sort of thing slowing down iPhones as they get older and whatnot, and it's in my eyes a way to make you upgrade, which is not really the most ethical in my eyes. It's a pretty jerk move, and so for me, I didn't want to stay with that, and so I went out, and one of my coworkers had just gotten a Pixel 2 actually, and I played around with it a little bit, and I liked it, and it was a learning curve at first because obviously there's quite a few differences between the two. Uh, Not enough time to really go through all of them, but for me it was an interesting change. Um, Off the top of my head, I don't really know all of the things that I can customize compared to the iPhone, but to me, it does feel a lot more open in a way. I can do more with it than I could with the iPhone, and there's a lot of quality of life things that I'm like, oh, I wish that I had this a while back. Um, another thing for me as well is, you know, with Android, it's not tied to a specific phone. Um, so if I wanted to switch to, say, a Samsung, from my Google Pixel, wouldn't be too much different. It might be a different version of Android. It's fine. You can always upgrade it to whatever the newest version is. So I have them here, and it looks like the most recent version actually just came out uh, a week ago. Actually, it's called Pi. Um, so I guess that's something else kind of cool to me is the code names for the Android releases are actually a lot nicer in my eyes than the iPhone um, code names. So with the iPhone code names, I was reading this actually. I did some research today actually, believe it or not. I was like, I've only known them as like iOS 1 or iOS 10, iOS 11, etc. iOS and then a number. So I actually came to find out that there is actually code names for iOS. I did know that Mac has code names like El Capitan and all that stuff, but I had never actually heard of some of these code names for iOS. So some of these are like Snowbird, Big Bear, Sugar Bowl, Timberline, Kirkwood. The most recent is uh, Hope. So according to this website, it's actually ski resorts. Um, I don't really relate to that as much, so at least I relate to sugars and sweets and whatnot. That's not a reason for me to say switch to Android. Oh man, the code names are garbage for iOS. No, that's not what I'm saying here. I'm just saying it's an interesting tidbit that I found out that, just makes me even more happy with Android. But again, like I said, to me the biggest thing is like the number of phones that run on Android. You can go to one, go to another. They should be pretty similar. Obviously, UI wise and internals and all that stuff is going to be different. But in my eyes, it should be pretty similar because it's going to be on the same operating system. But I don't know. I think we'll see how long this guy lasts me. Sorry about it being a very dirty screen, but we'll see how long this Pixel lasts me. So I typically was on a every 2 years, so I was on the S cycle. I don't know if that exactly works anymore since they released the 8 and the 10 at the same time. I don't know if they're going to release 8S. Regardless, actually no, I would have been on the 8 because I was on the 6S, then they released 7, never had a 7S and went to the 8. I was always on a 2-year cycle of when I was upgrading my phone. So we'll see how long the Pixel does for me. The Pixel 2 rather. Pretty straightforward topic this week, James. Glad you decided to pick this one for me. I look forward to hearing from you. I'm pretty sure that you still have an iPhone, so I'm interested to see why you're still there. Have a good one, James.